ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Lakshanani vachante nana matabhedat. Various people have expressed various aspects of it. And the first one, Pujadishu Anuraga iti, Kathadishu iti Gargaha, the second one. Gargarishi said that it is the stories, and Kathadishu Anuraga iti, the Anuraga aspect is important. Pujadishu Anuraga iti, Parasharyaha. Shandilya gives us the sutra Atmratya Virodhena Shandilyaha. So Shandilya gives us the idea that Avirodhena Atmarati. It's a very interesting concept because it is the sutra number 18, Atmarati Avirodhena, 18 sutra. In fact, last time we have covered this also, but let me just give one small little explanation of that. Avirodhena Atmarati, Virodha without not being there. That means uninterrupted. Smooth flow of what? Atmarati. Now, normally what happens is Rati means basically that you are passionate about. And passionate about what? Normally we are passionate about the objects outside. And this is what makes it as the Ahankara Rati. That means to say, normally what happens is that we are focused on ourselves. I would like to become selfish. Self-rati, and that's what is the way. Their self is naturally what we identify with the object outside. So I want to get that, I want to have this, I will do this, and I have done it. It's all about the I that becomes important. Whereas when you go deep inside, that's what is Atmarati. So any activity that is there, don't bring it to the surface level, take it to the deeper level. Because the moment that you see an object and you are at the surface level, that means I want the object that is outside. Then naturally, then it becomes like selfish. Whereas when you realize that no, outside is only just for interaction outside. Otherwise, I am deep inside. I am Atma. That is myself, which is supposed to be satisfaction and which is fullness. It doesn't have to add anything of that. If you are in that sense, then you interact with the world outside. The interaction with the world outside also that you see the object. Yes, you appreciate everything is fine, but you are not caught up by what is the material world that is there outside. Because there also because you recognize that the self within, you also recognize the self outside. What you are, that's what you see in the world outside. Like for example, if you are normally it is said that if you are a medical doctor, when you look at somebody, you always look at that, oh, he has got this, maybe that he has some problem like this, because he is identified with that kind of a thing. Same way it is also said a shoemaker will always look at your feet. What is the size of shoe that you have? So what you identify yourself with is what that you see in the world outside. So if you identify yourself with the self and you are in the self, and that means basically you are absolutely satisfied, you are blissful, you are happy. That's what you see in the world outside. In which case that you don't need the object for the sake of external gratification. So this is what is Avirodhena Atmarati. Try to keep yourself with interaction with the world, keeping yourself constantly associated with yourself. That's what is the idea. And this is a very powerful statement by Shandilya. You see, the way that he makes the statement, it is very close to what Patanjali has given us the idea, saying that Ishvara Pranidhanatva, when he says that Klesha Karma Vipakashayi Paramrishta Purusha Vishesha Ishvara. The Vishesha Purusha that's there within you, not covered by the Klesha, Karma, all those things, that's what you are. So the Ishvara definition is nothing but the purified form of you. And the same thing, Shandilya also gives us the same idea. Never brings about the God concept there. So the whole bhakti, that is why we have to look at from the point of view of individual than in the context of God. When we do that, then universally it can be applicable. The moment that you say a particular God or the other, then you start looking at it. Then the whole concept of bhakti, rather than reforming you, more important happens about the God outside. And even if your imagination of a God outside is still outside, it's at the periphery, not at the depth. So this is what is Atmarati, Avirodhena, uninterrupted Atmarati. That's what is Shandilya gives us the definition. Shandilya elaborately writes about Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Sutras, but they are all basically intellectual. So look at all these three things. The first one is the Pujati Shanuragati, it's karma importance. That means you work, you do the activity. But then Anuraga is the most important. Kathatishta Gargaha, where the person imagination and stories and philosophies out of it, all that. And the third one is purely about the intellectual, philosophical kind of a thing that he comes about. Now, after all these three definitions of or lakshanas of it, it's not the question of, in fact, later on the sutra also comes. Now the question of what is right, what is wrong. So, different type of people have different approach. Somebody might be interested in puja, somebody may be interested in only the Puranas and stories and things like that. Somebody may be interested in trying to interact with the people with the approach of Atmarati. So this is what Naradastu Tadarpita Kilacharata Tadvismarane Parama Vyakulateti. This Narada brings about this concept. Tadarpita, doing all those things, Akhila Acharata, whatever that you do it, everything Acharita you are doing, you are interacting in the world outside. It's not the question of you're sitting and meditating or anything like that. Akhila Acharata, that means whatever that you are doing, Tadarpita, it is, people translate it as, it is offered to the God. That may be okay, fine, a very superficial level, a simpler level, but much deeper level is that Tadarpita means basically Arpita from the point of view of the deep-rooted love. In fact, if that deep-rooted love aspect is not there in any activity that you do it, you have to feel bad about it. That means an opportunity I wasted. Like I just have to help somebody getting something or the other for some reason or the other. And can I do that help by cursing, by feeling negative, by feeling I'm unnecessarily forced into it and all that. Rather than that, can I just sit down and love with care? Can I take care of it? This is what is Tadarpita Akhilacharata, whatever that you do it. Every moment that anything that you can do with the world outside, any object for that matter, it's an opportunity given to you by God for doing sadhana, bhakti sadhana. I can handle anything also with that Akhila Acharata, with that kind of a care and love, rather than just, it may be material, it may be non-material, material. I was just giving an example to you on the, Vietnam trip when we went, and then we went for the archipelago and all. They give this, the raincoat kind of a thing, the plastic kind of thing. 3 days we used it, and then we came back, and then everybody was just throwing it out. But then I said, no, 3 days, that raincoat really saved me from the continuous drizzle that's going on. and it really cared for me. So I should care for it. I should not throw it. So I just took it out and then nicely folded it, packed it nicely, and then kept it there. Somebody came to me and asked, "Why are you doing this?" I said, "Look, after all, it may not have life, but then it has really helped me so much. So when it cared for me, so I should care for him, for this also." When somebody heard that and I said that, everybody started folding and keeping it. So that means an object, by doing that way, you can make the object also living content, living aspect of it. Can we do that?
The Ayodhya Puja.
Ayodhya Puja in the, yes, in the, usually in our rituals also, both in terms of Ayodhya Puja and, that you have this Dasara, the whole, everything is a living thing there. Every doll is a living doll. Everything is, it may not be just small and simple, but he says that, yeah, the cow should come here because Krishna and Gopika says that cow should come here, not there. You bring the cow here. You don't say that you bring that doll here, you bring that cow here. Then slowly what happens is that you get that feeling within you. That feeling is something which is really taking you. So these are all the opportunities given to you. That's what Narada says. Everything in this universe, every moment that it is given to you, any object interact with you, is an opportunity given to you to show that this feeling within you, this aspect of love within you. Tadarpita khilacharata. So it is not the question of whether I take it as God or not. That's not the idea. But the idea is that can I handle it with love, with the care? So this is what is important. Tadarpita khilacharata tadvisparane parama vyakulateti. Vyakula for what reason? Vyakula for the reason that I took that activity mechanically. So I feel bad about it. It's an opportunity offered to me, given to me, and I misused it. I did not use it. In fact, there is another important feeling also. A very beautiful thing is that, we should be always, Vyakula is also in the sense of that, when you do some harm to somebody, immediately say, "I'm so sorry." You should feel sorry about it. Some people are there, they just don't say. They might have done all kinds of rubbish, but then they don't say sorry. But it's all right. If you do something wrong, then you say sorry. But you always say sorry to the God all the time. This is what is Parama Vyapala. Oh God, I'm really careful. For what reason you have to be careful about that? You have to be about that. It is how many times that you think that you keep saying that, or you thinking that you are doing it, but actually it's God who is doing it. But we say that I did it, I have done it. Unconsciously, many times that we claim what you have done to me. You provided all the opportunity, but for that, I claim that I am the doer. So therefore, that I constantly keep this way, saying that, being humble to it. Sorry means actually being humble to it. That's later on also. Another sutra, Narada brings about that. So, asti evam evam. That's what is the 20th sutra. Evam evam asti. All these things are, let them be there, because all these things are necessary. Puja is also there, kathas are also there, and all these things are there. Evam evam asti. People who choose are not only that people who choose, but also at the time not you choose it, there is a moment where you feel puja is important. There's a moment where you feel that katha is important. At another point of time, it may be that you are doing any other activity, there you bring about this. You see, it's such a beautiful concept that is there. There is main priest who is doing the puja, but there are others who are doing so many other works. Often people feel that, it's an opportunity to be the main priest, particularly when some of these VIPs come. Oh, and then they take it, then give them the yarti. As if others do not have an opportunity, you have an opportunity. They wonderful ego trip in front of God. So it is not the question of somebody who does that arati. He's supposed to be the person who is really blessed. Anybody doing any activity is like that. And it so happened in Chamarajpet at that time, some big Swamiji came for Shankar Math. Thousands of people gathered, and then the Swamiji in Yerwa dress and all that. You can imagine, and all that muddy, untouchable kind of a thing that they were. And then they had given some tickets to some people to do the Pada Puja. So they come in that sacred nine yard saris and all that, and then Pada Puja, they do it. So it was grand thing that was going on. I was standing there, and then one lady came nicely with, probably she has the ticket and all that, and then she wanted to do the Pada Puja. And along with that, one little girl came. She also brought some water in her own. It's a nice container. And she also wanted to do the Pada Puja. But then these organizers are very strict about that. So they said, no, you can't do it. Your mother can do it. So the mother did it, and the child was standing there, what to do. And she saw what the mother is doing. So mother put the water on that, washed it, and then put the water on her head and all that. The child, he said, she just stood there and then put the water on her feet, washed it and put her on her head. And then I said, this is what is Atmarati. You see the God in yourself. The child was very cute, as a 3-4-year-old child. That was the beauty of it. Yeah, bring about all this. Even these practices also became like a trip of ego. So all these things are there, asti evam evam. Now he comes to the next thing. Is the sutra, that is the 21st sutra to, let me read that. Yatha Vrajagopikana. And Tatrapina Mahatma Yapavadina, 22nd sutra. And 23rd sutra, Tadvihinam Jaranamiva. 24th sutra says that Nastyeva Tasmin Tatsukha Sukritva. Until this sutra, then there is a link between these sutras. It's a very important idea. First thing is that he gives the idea, Yatha Vrajagopikana. Asti eva mevam Yatha Vrajagopikana. Like the way that you see in the Vrajagopikas. That's an example that he takes. What is importance about the Vrajagopikas are the Gopikas at the time of Krishna. And the very important aspect is that there is so much of love that was there in very uncorrupt form that they were practicing. That is the extraordinary image of Vrajagopikas. There were 16,000 Gopikas were there, and Krishna was there, and then they were having that rasa dance. That's all described in the Ram Mahabharata, in Bhagavatam. At the same time, also there are several texts which are made on that. Actually, the whole of Garbha that you see in Gujarat area, where everybody will be dancing during the time of Garbha, is also from that particular culture that has come. What's the importance of that, Vrajagopikas? The idea is that they were all in love with Krishna, but at the same time, you know, in the normal course of times, there is a love. You are already married, you have another husband and all that, and then you are in love with Krishna. That means it creates jealousy, it creates hatred, it creates, why Krishna, why not we all become like this? See, there is all these things come up because in the ordinary case of love. But when you are this, love is something which is an expression of the heart that is coming purely from inside, then it will not give rise to, unless until the ego is there, it will not give rise to all this feeling of hatred, jealousy and all that. That was never coming there. That means to say their love never corrupted by ego. Yatha Vrajagopikanam, it was like that. That means actually that the description that goes on like that, that Gopikas, they were more in love with their husbands because that they were in love with Krishna. And the husbands are also feeling that the love of their wives was much better because that Krishna was there. Krishna could teach them that kind of a love which they could give to their husband. See, this is the kind of feeling that was there when it is not the ego, but the love that is coming up. Unfortunately, when we don't have that kind of a love, see the way that husband and wife, they're in love with each other, wonderful, everything is there. But the moment a child is born, and then immediately husband starts feeling, look, you are sharing my love with your son or with your daughter. I became less important. Nobody can share love, actually it multiplies. But then that they don't understand that. And then they're in competition with each other. Here in Brajagopikas, that competition was not there. A love is pure love and that cannot lead you to any complications or competitions. That is the kind of thing. Rajagopika's love is supposed to be an example for that. In fact, there's another very beautiful episode that is there because there is no ego coming up. As a normal course of time that we mount our ego, but here the ego trip was not there, ego was not mounted. There is one small little simple incident that shows that how this Rajagopika's love is something which is pure, which cannot become egoistic. When the ego is not there, that love is only taking you to Atmarati. I know earlier I've seen ego is something which is object rati, whereas ego is not there, it is Atmarati. And that's what when Uddhava comes to Krishna and Uddhava sees that all these people that they were dancing and playing and music and singing because food, everything is there. And he gets mad because he was a person who was sitting on Himalayas and meditating. He says, what is this going on all the time? Teach them some philosophy, teach them some spirituality. Then Krishna says, the moment they see me, they keep dancing and singing and all that. So you teach them philosophy. So, and then let me not come here. So then that Uddhava, he calls all these people, girls, and says, you come here, be disciplined now. So I'll teach you something discipline. Now you are indisciplined. Love makes you disciplined. So that's why you come here. And then he started teaching them, come on, sit down, meditate, this and that. What he found out was that in no moment they're already in that state of highest state of meditation. So what else can I teach them? They're in that state. Krishna laughs. That's what they're. What meditation, etc., all those things will take you to that, where Swarupa Shunyam, ego dissolves. They're already in that state. There is no ego in that. They're playing happily, like a small little child without ego playing. They're all become like that. This is what is the characteristic of Rajagopika. Extraordinary, wonderful. Can you imagine that somebody can create that whole lot of thousands of girls that were there, women, they were there, were in that kind of a love? It is somebody who has that love can kindle that kind of a love in the others. This is what is Yatha Rajagopika. Example is given to that. Out of these Gopikas, only one Radha. There's another very important story that is there. Somebody has recollected that story. I don't know whether it is there in the scripture or not, but it's a very beautiful story. There also, the whole idea shows that anything can be which can provoke that idea of Krishna's love. Like, for example, Radha was there at the time of Krishna, and Radha was in love with Krishna. It can be understood because the person is there, and then we have interaction with them and all those things. But look at Meera. After so many years that she was, but for her, Krishna was living, and she has conversations with Krishna. What happened? It is she herself became Krishna. This is an extraordinary important thing that can happen. And basically, your love can create the God for you. And this is what the people have the vision, people have the idea. Whether it is Gita Govindam who is author of that, or whether it is Meera, they all could see Krishna. Even you also can see Krishna, provided you have that kind of a love, which Meera has, that kind of thing. Not only in Krishna, even in the other things also, anything which was there in the Krishna's view, you can see that. A small little simple line drawing that they make. One simple line. The very stroke itself is wow, it's Krishna's drawing. There is nothing, it's only that, the yellow rope that is there, you just flow that rope. Or you show some fruit. Immediately you see that what happens to you, the spandana inside, the feeling inside, Krishna's picture. Immediately you get into that. See, that means to say your love can create that kind of thing. So this story was old man sitting in a small little hut, evening 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock or 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock. He was cutting the wood and nicely, and then polishing all those things and making boards and all that. And when he is doing that, then one small little boy comes there and asks, Grandpa, what is that you are doing? He said, I'm doing flute. Okay. Don't disturb me because that I have to really concentrate on making this flute. Okay, I don't disturb you. You make the flute. But why are you making this flute? See, because I have to give it to Krishna. And so therefore I have to make it. So I have to prepare it. Okay, but then why I have to give it to Krishna? I told you, no, don't disturb me. I'm not disturbing you. I'm just finding out. This children are always like that. They're curious. He says, I have to give it to Krishna. Okay, give it to Krishna. No, but I have to make it tonight itself. Why do you have to make it tonight? See, tomorrow is Krishna's birthday. And before the Krishna's birthday starts, 12 o'clock midnight, I should prepare this fruit and then give it. Okay, how do you make this? See, leave me alone. Now I have to do it. Okay, I'll leave you alone. For 1 minute, he's silent. Next minute, he's silent. Oh, there are so many holes in that. How many holes? So each finger has one hole and all that. So there are 10 holes and all that. There's one hole. Oh, blowing. Oh, you also blow on that? Yeah. But then with all those things, with the boy talking to him, he finally makes the flute. Because after all, it becomes dark. After dark, we cannot do it. There's no light. So therefore, he has to prepare at 6 o'clock. It's already getting dark. And then, I made the flute. And once he made the flute, I hope, you see, flute, one thing is that unless the holes are absolutely perfectly placed, you cannot get that particular note. It's not that in a veena kind of a thing where you can change it, nothing like that. So he makes all those things and then he plays. He's not satisfied because there is one note which is somehow not matching with that. Look, what happened? This is not perfect because there is, out of the Saptaswaras, there is one thing is slightly deviated. That's it. It's all right. No, it's not all right. For Krishna, it's not all right. But then you put so much effort and did it, and you don't have any more time. No. But what do? I'll make one more. But it's already dark. How do you do it? But I have to do it. Old man. And the boy says, but then, then boy looks at this old man, takes that flute which is already made, but it's little, and then goes to that room where he throws it. The boy sees that the man has already done the heap of flutes. Heap of flutes. And he was not satisfied with any of them because there is some deviation, something or the other. You made all these things? Yeah. Then what happened? They are not all right. So I'll make one perfect one now. So he wanted to do, no, you can use the best one, whatever that is there, because there is no time. And Krishna will also not mind. This boy is telling. But the man also thought that, there is one fruit I remember, which is very close to perfection. Out of this whole heap, there's one fruit which is very close to perfection. So let me try to find out that. So he goes to that heap and then he remembers that must be this fruit and all that. He picks up one fruit and plays it. No, this is not one. There is something which is much more closer than this. Picks up another fruit, 3, 4 that he tries, because time is also not there. It's already getting midnight. So he tries all those things, it's not. And then this man says, "Father, can I try also?" Yeah. And then he just picks up a flute and then plays it. And yeah, that's the one. You see, that's very close. That's really perfect. So that one, give it to me. He said, no, I don't give you. Please, because I have to give it to Krishna. Please come. Yeah, come and take it. And this boy, the man tries to walk behind him, and this boy goes around, and this man runs behind boy, almost like catching. But this, he goes around the whole place and then comes back there and still laughing and says, "Come on, you take it from me." Finally, he comes to this boy about to take it, and the boy throws it onto the heap. Fruit heap, they just rolls down. Hey, I asked you to give it to me, and you throw it on that. Yeah, you take it from there. Which one? That one. This one. No, come close and show me. No, you see that? That is the one. This is the one. No, what I heard. Come on, you pick it up. And then he goes there and picks up one fruit and says, "Wow, you see, this is the one. You see, you know what it is." And then he gives it to me. He throws again it onto the heap. Again, everything goes. He picks up another fruit. And again, he plays beautiful. Again. And then give it to me. No, I don't give. And then he's walking, and this man waiting there and standing watching. This why I've never seen in this village at all. That's Krishna. First time I'm seeing him. And whatever he touches, it is a flute. It's not a question of you make a flute. What he touches is a flute. When his touch is there, a wood becomes a flute. Wow. You see, a simple story where Krishna is not there, flute is not there, nothing is there, but it can give you that kind of a feeling with it. Anuraga. This is what he says, that Vrajagopikanam is that way, is very important because you take the flute, it reminds you of Krishna, takes you to the ecstasy. You see the cow, it reminds you of Krishna and takes you to the ecstasy. You think of Yamuna, it takes you to that. And so in Krishna's life, when you look at it, so many examples that are there, so many things that are there, it's not a question of this is God, this is not God. It's nothing like that. That is the feeling. That's why he says that Yatha Vrajagopikanam. And the further story will give you the story, the sequence for that. Yatha Vrajagopikanam. And what is the idea that he says? Tatra Mahatma Jnana Vismriti Aparadinaha. Often people translate it as Tatrapi, in that state, Mahatma Jnana. That means to say a feeling of God. Feeling of God. Vismriti, that means forgetting about that. Aparadhinaha. There is no Mahatma Jnana Vismriti Apavadana. No, it is not there. There is no apavada of Mahatma Jnana. That means often people translate that in Vrajagopikas, they did not take it Krishna as a human being, but they took Krishna as God. But that is not my idea. My own feeling is Mahatma Jnana, you see, the Krishna is there, and then the relationship was like, he was like an ordinary human being only, and they were Gopikas and Krishna was there. But the most important feeling is that Mahatma Jnana, that means to say the elevated feeling of bhakti, elevated feeling of love, was not lost. The moment that two individuals, you think of it, the love which can elevate you to the higher level, it will fall down. That was not there. It elevates. That was the idea that he was giving about this idea. Mahatma Jnana Vismriti Apavadinaha. There was no apavada of that. So I don't have to substantiate that Krishna was God, therefore he had 16,000 women and girls, they were there behind him, Gopikas behind that, because he was God. We can't have it. That's not the concept of it. The concept is that every object that could manifest like a divinity, because of that, our exalted state of love, Mahatma Jnana is of the love itself. The love has an ability to take in the upper direction. That's why we are saying the prana always goes in the upper direction. Same way, love also goes in the upper direction towards the bhakti. It is its tendency to go in the upper direction. That is the thing. If that is not there, tadvihinam jarana viva. If that way, if it doesn't go up, then it falls down. Tadvihinam, when this is not there, jaranam iva. That means it is like a prostitution. What is the difference between the prostitution and that love? Prostitution is basically that body oriented, whereas love is a consciousness oriented. If you take the love, mind will always try to reach that consciousness. Whereas if we allow it to degenerate, then it becomes jara. Then what happens is that you are not interacting with the consciousness, you are looking at the body. And because that we identify with the body, the others also we identify with the matter. So don't look at the matter. The moment that you think it as a matter, then it is jarana. That is the idea. Now, what is the difference between the love which they have it and the other love normally that we say, which is the degenerated into jarana? That if you want to understand that, then we have to go to the Radha's example, because in Radha's example, very clearly how Radha's love elevated towards that. And that is what is of all the gopikas that were there, Radha was supposed to be the male gopika. And this next sutra, which gives us the idea, why it is not the degeneration? Because here, nasti na asti eva tat sukha sukitvam. In jaranam eva, that means jara type of that love, that is tat sukha sukitvam is not there. That means your sukha is my sukha is not there. It is actually that is my sukha is for myself. It's not because I can find out my happiness in your happiness. That's not there. I have to find out happiness within myself, no matter what happens to you. This is what is the idea of Jara, where the Gopikas were involved in the Krishna, and the Gopas were also involved in that Krishna. There they all could see that it is not for their happiness, it is for sake of others' happiness. In that they find their happiness, that is the idea. And that is what is an extraordinary example of Radha that you could see. Didn't I tell Radha's story last time? So there, actually, the story of Radha, what we could see is that ordinary simple girl, and her name is not mentioned in the Bhagavatam at all. But then later on, people called it as Radha, the name is given. Such a great importance that is given to Radha's name. Actually, there's another thing. Radha was not even married to Krishna. Whereas there are others like Rukmini, Satyabhama and all that, they were married to Krishna. And you see normally that we take that, Shachi Purandara, gods with their wives, we say Sita Ramabhyam Namaha, Shachi Purandarabhyam Namaha, Arundhati Vasishtabhyam Namaha, we take them. But when it comes to the Krishna, you take the Radha's name. I mean, it's such a injustice to the idea of whether Rukmini, Satyabhama, or at least something like that you should have taken. Satyabhama is like a very manly lady. She managed Krishna and all those things. She should have taken that right. Satyabhama's name. But then that is not done. Why Radha's name has become? Because the love relationship between Radha and Krishna in such a way that that's the only state where it is elevated to a different height. And because it is elevation, that's why Dhara is downward direct flow. It is reversed in the form of Radha. So that's why somebody has given that name of Radha, but it's so beautiful. And the relationship we have seen, how it happens is that when the moment that Krishna finds that he has to go to Mathura and he has to vanquish, you see, his mind is only that much that he is going to go to Mathura and then kill Kamsa, finish Kamsa and then come up. But Radha's imagination goes further ahead. And Radha says that no, we are not going to marry because basically Krishna says that okay, I'll finish Kamsa, settle down the things, and then I will come back and then marry. So no, you're not going to come back, you're not going to marry. Because she says Krishna, the eighth son of Devaki, that means he is born with mission in life. And I don't want to come in the mission of your life. See, tat sukha skritam, your sukha, and that gives me sukha. It is not that I possess you so that I get the happiness. No, I don't want to possess you. My happiness is in your happiness. Tat sukha skritam. That is the idea. The moment that there is the happiness is actually that is, I derive happiness from you. Any other means other than love is actually snatching your happiness. I'm snatching your comfort to get me happiness. This is something which is dangerous. That's why I said that we should have that feeling of, remorse. That will be the feeling of comfort. This thing should be there. So I take advantage of you. No, I can never take advantage of you. Joyfully you do it, so that by doing that you get the joy. I give an opportunity for you to give that joy. So this has been the culture right from the beginning, that why we have these pativratas, that we have such wonderful pativratas, they are there. They never took the husbands for sake of their joy. They always try to provide the happiness for the husband, whatever that he wanted. See, it's not a question of good or bad or right or wrong. Pativratya is that way. Look at in fact, these days I'm watching this Ramayana, where the Mandodari, extraordinarily wonderful lady, but look at the way that everything is for the sake of how Ravana can become better, how Ravana can be helped. That was the idea. And you go through all the suffering. In fact, we have such examples that where the Pativratas were there, that they were helping the husbands, doing all wrong kind of things. Also, it's okay, fine. I provide you facility for that. But actually, then what happened? Husband will not go to the higher world, but wife will have that kind of opportunity. That's what Sati's, Anasuya, etc. They have that kind of a stories that is there. It is basically that you love for the sake of other. That's sukha sukhitam. Your happiness is my happiness. This is so opposite to the world today, or any point of time. The world equation is that I get happiness if I get something. I do not get happiness in giving. Only in Chinese proverb, it is said, love is the language of the other world. Because language of this world is, I get something, I get happiness. Whereas the language of the other world is, I give and get happiness. I give and get happiness. And Tulsidas also gives a very beautiful doha saying that if you can give and get happiness, nobody can take away that happiness. If you possess and get that happiness, somebody can rob, somebody can steal, somebody can have much better than what you have. So all those things can take away temporary happiness. What you get and get happiness is always a temporary happiness. And it's always connected with the object outside. But whereas, and another thing is that the moment that you actually the object gives you happiness when it is not with you. When it is in the shop, when it is in somebody's possession, it will give you happiness. But the moment that you bring that object to you, now the object loses its happiness. Now you look for something different. This is the law of the world itself. So that's why we run behind the object of the world, because the object gives me happiness. That means to say, if I am getting happiness by possessing, it's always an object. It's not even a human being or anything like that. Even if it's your own wife or something like that. If I possess and get happiness, that means you are converting her into another matter. It's not anymore. Whereas the moment you see the consciousness, you see the spirit there behind it, that means you give and get happiness. That's sukha sukhitam. It is so simple in the normal day-to-day life activity also that this you can see that very prominently. Like for example, I used to give that example those days. Bangalore to Mysore, that you go by the train, and usually people just rush into the compartment, and then there are 6 people sitting in that seat. I mean, 3 people, 3 this side, 3 that side. So 4 will be sitting because already crowded, and then you stand there pathetically looking at the people because you have to go travel long distance. So somebody takes pity on you and then gives little place for you, come and also sit down, moves a little bit and all that. Even the others feel a little discomfort, but because of his, they provide. And then you sit there in the seat, whether the train rocks or not, you rock. And in next half an hour, you slowly settle down at the back. Now they give a small little inch, but then now you sit down. And the person who has given you a seat, then he'll be pushed out now ultimately. This is what happens. And then this is what we do it. Yeah, it looks like it's a natural normal. When this is happening, I see in the opposite seat. A mother is sitting with a child. Child is also not small, 7-8-year-old, sitting next to her. And then somebody is waiting for getting an accommodation. And the mother takes the child in her lap and makes more room for that. You sit down. And I look at it. Look at me. Matsukha Sukhito. My happiness gives me happiness. My comfort gives me happiness. Whereas that mother, her discomfort gives, and others' happiness gives her happiness. It's so spontaneous, so nice. Why it happened like that? It's because mother's love. I should be ashamed when I look at that, saying that what I cannot do it, that lady can do it. And this you can see always things happening like that. So normal law is I get happiness when I get something. I possess, I take it, I did something, I get happiness. Anything that we do for the sake of happiness is a happiness which is temporary, which is short-lived. Whereas the happiness that you touch by giving somebody that joy, lifelong. You can always feel, yeah, I helped that person when he did that. The very memory itself, how you can see the light glows on his face. That one small little thing that I did, it has given him that comfort, that happiness. It's an extraordinary thing. So that's why I said that we should have such opportunities. If there is an opportunity to go and do something, service, grab that opportunity. Don't allow others to take that opportunity because it's there offered in front of you. If you do that, this is what is basically the way. Tat sukha sukhito. The moment that you have an idea that I get the happiness from the outside, and that's what is basically the prostitution. Prostitution is not that profession kind of a thing. Prostitution is a state of mind. The state of mind is that I want to get happiness whether you have it or not. If there is, you see, I mean, that's why this whole thing is bhakti sadhana. Women are so fortunate about this. Ordinary simple women, see, they do all kinds of things, if they don't eat along with everybody. They allow everybody to finish the food and all that. Finally, they will have kept food just for themselves, one person food, and the rest of it they clean, and suddenly some guest comes to the house. She will be the first person to welcome the guest and say that, come on, Uta time bandidra, you have come for food, so join us the food. The person said, no, I'll go home and have food. No, you come here, why don't we have food? We all know very clearly that she has got only food for only one person. But she says, no, I have plenty of it. Come on, you have it. She manages something else, but then she gives that food to the guest who comes. In giving, you get happiness. This is what the law of the love is, that you give and get happiness. Even though you don't have it, you offer that food, you give to them, and then they get happiness. Vivekananda always used to do that when he was a young boy. There used to be food enough for 2-3 people. It's not enough for him. So he would tell a lie to his mother, saying that, look, I know, oh, this Majumdar, my friend, he invited me for dinner to join him because he needed some clarification. So I'm going there and then give him clarifications and give him some dinner and have dinner and come back. Mother knows very well that he's going without dinner. It's not 1 day or 2 days, day after day after he used to do that. Mother questions him. Bhuvaneshwari Devi stops him and says, what is this you're doing? Every day that you're fasting, you're going and drinking water and then managing with that. Come on, you stay at home and have dinner. One day she did like this, that he went out saying like that and then came late, finished dinner. She kept her dinner for him. Her dinner. Said, come on, you have that. This is what is mother's love. You give and get happiness. If you cannot give, you feel miserable. That is what earlier you said, that vihinam jayate. Without that, you feel discomfort. I had this small little example that was there. I don't know many times I would have. I was in Germany, and this medical lady doctor, she's a good friend of mine, very young, just finished in medical school, and then I was staying as a guest in her house. When I was staying guest in her house, and then that was the time there was Mother's Day celebrations. And then there was a dialogue going on between mother, and she was telling her mother, I have an Indian guest with me, so I may not be able to come for the Mother's Day celebration. Mother said, bring the guest also our home, and he's all, not only your guest, he's all of our guest. Because her brother and sister, they were also joining. Said, Raghuram, can you come? Then this girl was trying to argue with mother. No, he's vegetarian. Mother. She says, well, we make all the vegetarian food for him. All that. And then she took the phone and she gave me the phone, and then mother invited me, Raghuram, you should come because you are very special guest on the Mother's Day. We'll be very happy to have you. So we went to there, and on the way, that before said, what is that special I can make for you? Because you are coming from India. They don't know about all these Indian dishes. They do all the German dishes and all those things, European dishes. So out of which they make a cake, The cake, a special cake which is made out of a herb called as ruaba. Ruaba, you say herb, then they make cake out of it. I said, I'm fond of that. Actually, you put it in the water, it dissolves. That's the kind of thing. So she said, okay, I will make the cake with that kind of a thing. Fine. So I went to their house, and then mother and myself, we were supposed to be this Mother's Day. She was also a guest. I am a chief guest there. And then they made a nice, wonderful cake, and everybody was there now. And then we both cut the cake. And then they had some singing and all those things. After that, she wanted to put the cake piece in my mouth. And I told her, does it have egg? Oh, mother said, in such a huge cake, I put one egg. And without egg, I could have done it. Why you are asking that question? I said, if it is having egg, I don't eat it. I could see the tears coming out of her eyes. You can't take it. No, I have so many other things that I enjoyed. No. This is something which is very special. Like that. And of course, we continued that way. But look at the sentiments. She would not give, and that's what she was feeling discomfort about. And this happened way back, 1990s, something like that. And this time when I went to Germany, I went to that lady's, my friend's house, every time. And then this time I casually in Cali, talking, they said, I came to your house for Mother's Day celebration. Yeah, but I remember also that incident that we could not offer you that cake. That means how many years that you remember that? You did not give, could not give. That's what you feel. How much you are disturbs you, that kind of thing. If you cannot give, you'll disturb. And that's the doctor. He died in accident 2 days back. 5 days back. I put it to the Facebook, Bettina. He was one of a very dear person to me. In fact, I just can't think of her not being there. And this time, particularly when I went to her house for dinner and all that, every time I go there, I stay for 3-4 days. And then 3-4 days, what we do is early morning, 6 o'clock, we both get up, she and myself. And then over a cup of coffee, we'll have our satsang until about 8 o'clock. And then our husband will come and then we'll drive. 7:45, he will come and then we'll drive to the hospital. She is also a doctor. And we have such wonderful connection togetherness. And then we drove a lot of places also. East European countries, we drove together. While talking like that, suddenly something comes up. They say, oh, you want to see that? Like Rodin's painting. You want to see the Rodin? Yeah, let's go and see that. And she would drive about 200 miles to go to a place to see that and show me that place and all that. All that was the kind of thing. And this time particularly, we just had dinner and then we were about to leave for our lodge. He said, why don't you stay for one night? Tomorrow morning we can sit down and have satsang. I said, no, tomorrow morning we have to leave for Munich, therefore I have to leave. I could not stay there. We were left that night itself. Wow, I feel so bad now. I missed her now. That beautiful satsang. That's the kind of relationship. This is the idea that says that Nastyeva tasmin tatsupasukitvam. In any other case, tatsupasukitvam will not be there. And there is an indication why giving there is happiness is not there is, it shows up so beautifully, immediately it comes up, maybe come later also, come up saying that, look, I gave 1, 2, 3 to him. What did he give me? He never gave me in return. That means you're already bartering with your love. First of all, you gave out of love, but now you are bartering with that love, that you are doing business out of love. You are saying that I gave you this and you give me that. The moment that means somewhere some ego is hidden. And that ego pulls you down. While giving, you are elevated, you are extraordinary. But then ego comes up and then it pulls you down. The moment it pulls down, you become materialistic. That's what is the idea of Jara Vardiva. That means that you fall down, it's not going in the upper direction. Upper direction is a sadhana. Like for example, why Radha's name also when it came, upper direction, the water has to go in the upper direction. It has to transform itself. The water has to become a steam, become vapor. Then only it will go in the upper direction. Whereas the water itself flows downwards. So therefore, when it is flowing downwards, that means it is not getting the transformation. Every stroke of love should be able to transform you into spiritual love. Every event of love, every moment that you are getting an opportunity to practice love, then it is giving an opportunity to grow in the upper direction, to transform yourself to spiritual. Moment that you use that, that's the reason why you say is that if it is not there, Parama Vyakulateti, you feel, really, I missed an opportunity. I missed an opportunity to show that love. Nastyeva tasmin tatsukasukitvam, 24th sutra, very important sutra, that completes one section of this particular Nanda sutra. Next to sutras, in the direction changes, in the sense that the kind of explanation, kind of description, sutras that are there are now talking in a different direction. So far, what he has done is about these lakshanas that he talked about, the lakshanani vachante nanamat veda, that he talked about. Now he compares the bhakti with the other sadhanas. That's why he comes with that idea. Sadhu karma jnana yogyo api adhikataraha. This bhakti, sadhu, karma jnana yoga api adhikataraha. Much better than all these three other sadhanas. That means to say, broadly speaking, as far as the Narada is concerned and then Bhagavad Gita Krishna is concerned, there are four sadhanas that broadly that we think of. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, and then Bhakti Yoga. Of all these four sadhanas, Bhakti Yoga is something which is extraordinary. Adhikataraha, it's better than all these other sadhanas. It looks a little odd because, you see, Bhakti sadhana, sadhaka, will never compare anything with anything else. You do the sadhana, that's all. But then why he has made that kind of a thing? It's better than karma, better than jnana, better than yoga, Raja Yoga, better than that. There is one thing that is there in the case of Bhagavad Gita also, when Krishna talks about various chapters of yoga, when he's talking about karma yoga, he extols that there is nothing greater than karma. In fact, when you read the explanations, you feel that way. There's nothing greater than karma. Similarly, when he talks about jnana, he says, Nahi jnana ina sadrisham pavitram. There is nothing which is greater than jnana. Krishna says like that. The same way when he's talking about yoga, wow, the way that he flows with the help of yoga, he shows that there is ultimately it is the yoga that's what is important like that. But the same thing when you come to the bhakti, you can see finally of all the other chapters, until 11th chapter he gives various techniques of yoga, various ideas of yoga. And the 11th chapter he shows the Vishwarup Sadarshana. After that, Bhakti Yoga comes. As if Bhakti Yoga is ultimate of all those things to the Bhakti Yoga. After 12th chapter, then you see 13, 14, 15 chapters, their explanation of various philosophical ideas, but then it doesn't go into the practice of yoga. So that also shows that Krishna seemed to be favoring the Bhakti Yoga. And what is that which Narada takes the stand here? Should we really take it that way, Narada? Because a lot of people taken that way, saying that, yeah, Narada also said Bhakti is greater than Karma, Jnana, Yoga, so therefore that we have to practice Bhakti. All this Advaita philosophy and all that, they're all theoretical, whereas we follow the Bhakti. Bhajan, this is something which is extraordinary. People talk about. Narada did not say in that sense. Narada's explanation of why Bhakti is greater than Karma, Jnana, Yoga is totally different. And when you understand that, you see the beauty of what is Narada's idea. But before going to that, when he says Narada Tadarpita Kilacharata Tajusmanai Paramavyam, he talks about Narada. He could have said, I say it. He did not say that. Because Narada never identifies himself with that. He says that this is Narada's view. There is no question of I behind it. In fact, last time I think I gave that example. There was one Swami Rama used to be there. He never used to call it as I do it, I did it. He always considered himself to be Rama. Today Rama went there, then people have beaten Rama. I really enjoyed it. He was a witness for that. I said, you are reporting as if somebody is beaten. Yeah, Rama is beaten. Should I not enjoy that? But then you were beaten. Not me. I was watching that Rama. That means to say the whole Narada keeps himself to be an observer. He is not a person who is involved in that. The observer does not have the ego. Ego stops at the identifier level. But then observer is something which is beyond the level of identification, jnatritva. So this is how basically that here, when Narada says that karma jnana yoga api adhikataraha, he is not giving us a bhakta sadhaka. He is giving it as an observer. From the observer's point of view, when you look at it, what is bhakti different from karma jnana yoga? This is what Narada gives us. we'll see that because once we take up that, that's a whole topic by itself. We'll stop it here. Thank you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yeah.
They have questions online.
Yeah, they're.
Yeah, they're correct. Sure.
Where we say there are 4 sadhanas.
Yeah.
Among the 4, the more justifiable is bhakti sadhana. That being said, who justifies that among 4, this is the best?
That's why
Repeat the
when right,
sake of.
Narada says that, say that bhakti of all the 4 sadhanas, bhakti is more justifiable sadhana than more better sadhana compared to the other sadhanas. Who justifies that?
Who endorses it?
Who endorses that?
But who
endorses
that? There's Bhagavad Gita,
Right.
there's other.
One thing is that whether Bhagavad Gita endorses or as I said, Bhagavad Gita, when he talks about every yoga, he says that that's extraordinary. In fact, the same thing when one of the students was supposed to write a report on one particular stream of yoga. So she was listening to my talk on Raja Yoga. And at the end of it, when I finished Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, she said, Raghuramji, I'm totally convinced that I'm going to write my report on Raja Yoga because it's extraordinary. Then next couple of lectures I took on Karma Yoga. Wow. Now I see, I think I would like to change my topic from Raja Yoga to Karma Yoga. This is something which is extraordinary. Okay. And you should help me. I said, I can definitely help you. Then she said, that she listened to my talk on Jnana Yoga. Arey, Jnana Yoga is useful for people. So what you said, I think, it's better if I write my report on Jnana Yoga. Last I took Bhakti Yoga. Said, now I'm confused. Because I see that Bhakti Yoga is like Himalayas, other yogas are at the lower level. So, should I write on Bhakti Yoga? She says like that. So, the presenters will make it something which is extraordinary so that people who are following in that direction already, they feel strengthened. If somebody is doing Bhakti Yoga, see, we have to take it like this. We say that there's 4 streams of yoga. What we need to do, a stream which is going, we try to remove the hurdles in between, make the flow comfortable. Not going to change this. You go, leave the stream and then go to that stream. No. So your psychology, your mood, your way is concerned to a particular stream. So by this talk, actually what's happening is that the hurdles and the difficulties that are there in the path seem to have been removed. Wow, bhakti seemed to be a wonderful flow. Same way when we take about Karma Yoga, Karma Yoga is a beautiful flow. That means to say we removed all the hurdles and path in between that. There is nothing like that which is better than this better. It's individual choice that is there.
By this example, sir.
Sorry?
By this example,
Yeah.
if I am in one stream of Bhakti
Right.
Yoga, and I follow the stream, the 3 of the stream, I'm ignorant of them.
Yeah.
So the narrative is so impressive for me that I'm missing out the quantum of knowledge of 3 other streams.
Right.
I'm driven by a narrative so beautifully by Narada.
Yes.
I consider that itself as the world to be followed.
Right.
But there's something else also.
Yeah.
Which
So, yes.
I might miss out.
Now, when we make the presentation, your point is that if I'm following a particular path, there are wonderful points in the other streams, and I might be missing it.
Yes.
I may be missing it because that you made this path so extraordinary. Actually, truly speaking, when we come to the sadhana aspect of it, we say that there is one path which we are very comfortable with, but the other paths, they are not excluded. In the sense that our own psychology is in such a way, sometimes it is more akin to intellect. At that time, I apply the Jnana Yoga principles. I am doing the work and I apply my Karma Yoga principle. I want to look inward journey and then I use the Raj Yoga principles like that. But then Bhakti Yoga is impressive for me, so therefore a large amount of me will be going in the Bhakti Yoga. We will not miss anything. This is one aspect of it, because that we move from one to the other. Very simple thing is, morning, usually up 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, you are intellectually available. That's the reason why main subjects are taught at the time. In the afternoon, I'm more into the karma. I would like to do some activity or the other. So therefore, karma becomes important. Evening, after this Sandhya, bhajan is a wonderful time where basically your emotions are there. So like that, our personality itself moves through all these 4 different directions. All these 4 will be available for us. But at the same time, no individual can go through all the 4 simultaneously, in the sense that ultimately what takes them, they'll be following all those 4, but appeal of one will be much more than the other over a period of time. So they follow that and then they go ahead. So that's what they say, that a river has got 4 different entries, but people go through that only an entry which is suited for him. And even here also, bhakti is also extraordinary, I said. But here also he says there are 4 different. Somebody's bhakti may be in the puja, somebody's bhakti may be in narrating these stories and then looking at the beautiful aspect of the love element in that. So somebody else maybe see that as I said, that Atmarati. I'm always focused on the one thing called as Atma, like Shandilya said. So there also there may be several things which are useful for us. Similarly in Karma Yoga, I would like to do the Karma Yoga, but then Karma Yoga has several aspects of it. One aspect is that without any fruit of action, I just do the activity. Second thing is Karma Yoga, I do it because the activity is given by the God. So therefore, for God's sake that I do it, I need to do it. Without me bringing in there, I do it. These are the kind of things. Like that each path again has some small little areas which people catch it, go ahead. I see so many people, they love to go to temple, but there are really great bhaktas who are there, never visited. Because temple,
Real bhaktas will never visit temple.
some bhaktas are there
Some.
who never visit a temple, who never go to the God, because they feel it's a lot of crowd and the temple diverts you from the bhakti. Because you go to the temple, the pandas, pujaris, and then you see, other things become very important. Like for example, you get the prasad, get the tilak, this becomes very important. You be on the front line, you can't be at the back line. Temple itself is where you go to surrender yourself. Where is the question of front line or back line? Other people push. So ultimately what happens? Temple is not serving me, my love aspect of it. I see the least bhakti is there in the temple for myself. So even if I go to the temple, normally I just sit on the platform will be there or something. I'll sit there comfortably. I think of God. You people go ahead and then see all those things and come back. I enjoy that. I don't have to go through all that. And nowadays, even this also became so difficult because people go there with recommendation. Your bhakti is important for you. You take the recommendation, somebody says, somebody is VIP. I don't know who is VIP in front of God.
But somewhere,
Thank you, sir. Sorry.
Yeah.
One final thing.
Yes.
Ignorance and asking the model of ignorance. When you said bhakti, if it is objectified towards an object, once we possess that, we go to the next one. If I make Brahman himself as an object,
Yeah.
then.
That's where you are the
concept
Brahman.
of possession would not come into play.
Right. That's why when you say that Brahman, the very idea of Brahman is that you are also part of that Brahman. You dissolve. You can't make Brahman as an object of possession. An object is always an object of possession. Brahman, you make an object, you can't make it as an object.
You
of
cannot
possession.
make Brahman as an object.
Brahman, you cannot make it an object of possession.
Thank you.
So you not make Brahman as an object of possession, but you can be
Yes.
connected with the.
Right. Brahman, you are connected with that.
There
You
it
dissolve,
is not a much.
then possession will not be there. You become Brahman.
So connected with this Raghuramji is, I don't know whether it is it could be a very silly question, but and suddenly just, so for example, Raja Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Can I use Bhakti as a tool in these parts? For example, for me Karma Yoga is something which I am very fond of.
So
Most time I do.
Yeah.
when you do karma, yoga, or it's basically service, we are doing that. Finally, we are dissolving into the bhakti.
Ah,
So
And the jnana,
yes.
even the jnana, contemplation, finally we dissolve into the bhakti state.
see, bhakti is there. That's what people feel, that bhakti is there behind. Whether you practice Jnana Yoga or whether you take the Karma Yoga or the Raja Yoga, still there is bhakti there. Because that you are looking at through the glasses of bhakti. It looks, for somebody else, when he looks at all these things through the glass of karma, he says that, yeah, what is puja? It's also another karma aspect only. Oh.
Okay, so we are going like that. and-
Yeah, right. So it's again the perception that is there. After all, what is puja? What is doing all the arrangements for the puja and all those things? Is it not karma aspect of it and selfless karma? So therefore, it is karma yoga only that we are doing.
It also implies then
Yeah,
the interpretation could be to our understanding also,
right.
not necessarily what Karma interprets.
Actually, reality, what you asked that question earlier, everything is Brahman.
Everything is.
You can't bring anything out of Brahman. It's a very, I'm giving it's a very deep statement, and that part of statement, including the fact that you are going to the matter, which is what Jnana Yoga says. Material object you are going is also nothing but Brahma sadhana only. Brahma sadhana only. There is nothing beyond the Brahma sadhana. You can't come, see, there is nothing outside Brahman. In what way then it is Brahma sadhana? Only thing is, it's a misconceived notion of Brahma sadhana, thinking that my nature is happiness, I need to need my nature called happiness, and that this object becomes my tool. But see, your understanding is wrong, but the pursuit is the same. Pursuit is the same thing. You find that your happiness is in sitting and doing bhajan. But he finds his happiness is in getting more and more money, more and more these things and riches and all that, and everybody prizes him. Or the position. Yeah. He sees that his happiness there. But happiness is the same. Happiness is one and the same thing. Means that he adapts is different. In that sense, when you look at it, what's not Brahman?
Is this what the quantum physics talks about? Matter and
Absolutely the same. See,
material.
what everything says that, quantum physics also, everything says, it comes from the same nothingness. That's what is Buddhist philosophy, nothingness. Nothing has to merge into that. When you have come out of nothingness, there's so many varieties that are there. Why worry about all these things that is there? There's so many.
Sloka mantra Purnamidam.
Yes. This creation, that's what the main shloka, Upanishad, extraordinary wonderful. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avasishita. What remains is nothing but Purna only. And this Purnamidam, this creation world, is also Purna. But unfortunately, what happens with the people It's their own. All right, object gives them happiness, fine. But then they don't stop there. They think that next object will give you next happiness or more happiness. They come in that run. They're going that, all right, you have found the happiness. Object is there, you found happiness. Now be with that happiness. No. That's why I said that when the object is outside of you, it gives you happiness. The moment it comes to you, you don't find happiness.
Could it also be that instead of interpreting as a creed of a man, somebody who is more learned, example, if I quote you with your permission, your attempt to go to the next level.
Where is the next level? What is the next
I
level?
don't know. I don't know. I in my mind, I
The
perceive
moment
it
that we
something
yes.
I would like to go.
So
And
people
explore.
who are
My perception. My perception.
actually, this is where another very beautiful idea is that the material world outside, which is actually karma kanda undergoes the transformation change. You can bring about continuously change in the whole thing. Like, for example, what people understood about matter, say 1,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, today we have a different understanding, we have a different view. That means as far as the matter is concerned, understanding can go on increasing, improving, or whatever it is. But Jnana Kanda, the ultimate, you are Brahman, you can't improve. 20,000 years ago, when the beginning started, you are Brahman. Today also you are Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi or Purnamada, Purnamada. This is not going to change. So for a person who is realized this truth, it's not the question who knows this truth, but he realizes the truth. For him, there is no question of any rat race anywhere. But unfortunately, but your question is valid because unfortunately I see that even in the people who are sannyasins, there seem to be some rat race there going on. He is much senior Swamiji, I am much junior. I should become like him. Arey, why should you become like anybody else? You are beautiful, you are wonderful. This comparison comes there also.
Thank you.
Check there.
Yes.
Is anyone having a doubt? No, nothing in chat. Is anyone having a doubt would like to raise hands? Okay,
Okay.
thank you.